The summer is one of the busiest times of the year for everyone here in construction. It's also one of the most dangerous. As construction companies, you're looking to take advantage of the longer daylight hours, but your workers are also at risk of overheating and dehydration. In response, several major health and safety organizations have teamed up to launch an app to ensure all of your workers know when it's time to step back and when they may be feeling the heat. Here to tell us all about it is Brenda Jacklitsch, health scientist for the Education and Information Division at the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. So Brenda, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So Brenda, let's talk about it. The summer months are really the toughest when we talk about construction and the heat. Why do we have so many construction workers struggling with the heat in the summer months?
Well, of course, temperature is a big factor. A lot of these workers are also working in high humidity areas. In addition, they're doing very difficult tasks where they're actually increasing their body heat because they're working harder. And also, many of them are wearing personal protective equipment that, while it's protecting them from other hazards, it can also increase the heat load that they're experiencing. And so all of this, increases the heat burden and increases their heat stress, and then that can result in heat-related illnesses and injuries.
So you've come up with now a safety kind of heat app. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that's a great idea for alerting them to some of these problems, or at least helping them.
Okay, sure. So actually, the app was originally developed by OSHA in 2011. However, NIOSH had a criteria document full of recommendations related to heat stress that came out last year. And so at that time, OSHA approached us and said they were interested in handing off the app to us and letting us update the app and redesign it using the newer NIOSH recommendations for heat stress. And so basically what the app does is it uses your location and it downloads temperature and humidity data from NOAA satellites. And then it calculates the heat index. And the heat index is important because it's actually how hot it feels for these workers. And then based on the heat index, it will assign a risk level. And then based on that risk level, it will provide recommendations depending on how high your risk for heat-related illnesses is at the time.
Now, we see a lot of contractors working late. Sometimes we hope that they don't, but they suffer from heat stroke, dehydration. These are the things that we're trying to minimize so much with this?
Yes. In addition to heat stroke, heat exhaustion, heat rash, there's also heat-related injuries. So, workers that are sweating a lot may have slippery hands. They may not feel well, and so they're more likely to faint or pass out on the job, resulting in injuries to themselves or possibly their coworkers around them.
So what are some of the recommendations that you're trying to help them with this? Because the idea is to actually use the app. And so sometimes they have it, but they're not actually using it. So what are the recommendations you have for them?
Right. So some recommendations might be trying to limit your time on some of the hottest and hardest jobs. And so that may mean increasing the length and the amount of breaks you're taking. Also, even just increasing the number of workers on a task. If it's a really hard task, having additional help will help relieve some of the burden. We also have recommendations regarding training for both the supervisors and the workers, as well as recommending even just having buddy systems in place so that somebody is able to kind of help monitor not only how they're feeling in the heat, but also how their coworkers are handling the heat. We also have recommendations related to hydration. Oftentimes these workers are working, for a limited amount of time where maybe water is appropriate. However, if they're working longer periods of time in the heat and they're sweating a lot, it may actually be more optimal for them to have something like a Powerade or a Gatorade or some sort of sports drink that helps replace some of those electrolytes that can be lost in sweat.
How do you get this app? Where is it? Where is it right now?
So it's available for both Apple iOS and Android. So you can go on Google Play or the Apple iTunes Store and download it. And it is a free app. If you have Spanish-speaking workers, if their phones are set to Spanish, they'll be able to download the app in Spanish.
I love the idea that you also mentioned the buddy kind of side of this, because I think sometimes people, workers in the sun don't realize they're getting dehydrated. Are there tips and things like that with this app and the buddy side of this that they can put cues in there about each other, that they learn from things or help each other know that you don't realize that you get dehydrated maybe a little bit faster than somebody else, your coworker, that someone else can see, or that you can put things in this app or other things about that help them?
So we do have some links within the app for more instructions. And so one of the things NIOSH has suggested as kind of an awareness tool is a urine color chart. And so that's one thing that can vary by the individual. And so typically the more dehydrated you are, the darker your urine becomes. So that's something that, can help with self-monitoring. The app also has some featured buttons on it where it lists different symptoms for various heat-related illnesses. There's also a list of risk factors because, if you're on certain medications or you have certain health issues, that might put you at higher risk than some of your coworkers.
Well, Brenda, it's been great having you on the show today, and thank you so much for joining us for Safety Zone.
Thank you. It was great being here.
All right. That's our list today for Safety Zone.